Oh shit. You know what? Ugh. Okay, we just won't be ever waiting. We're good. Okay. Alrighty. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you all for joining us here today. We're going to give it a couple more minutes to let our candidates trickle on in, and then we'll get started. But thank you all for joining us here thus far. And then Sky, if you're here for the candidate forum, can I please, I mean, for the leadership initiative for today's candidate forum, can I please have you send over your email as well as your student ID number to me privately in the chat function, please, if you're here for the leadership initiative. Alrighty, well, it looks like we're gonna go ahead and get started. Good morning, everyone. Thank you all again for joining us here today as we do our candidate forum for candidates for social sciences and interdisciplinary studies, as well as our undeclared students and our graduate studies students. Before we get started, though, just some general roadmap and some procedures. Any questions asked by the audience will be asked of all candidates for the same position with the same amount of time allotted for a response, which will generally be 1 minute. Secondly, no candidate may ask questions of other candidates so that there is no way to give an unfair advantage or disadvantage to the candidates on the panel today. And following the forums, any statements made about ASI that are factually incorrect will be addressed on the ASI website for a fact check section. Given that today's candidate forum is going to be for college directors, we'll do a 2-minute opening statement, followed by a 1 minute to answer a general question, 1 minute to answer one positional question, and depending on if we have questions for from the candidates from our audience, we will be doing about 10 minutes for that section as well. Lastly, with a 2-minute closing statement. So with that getting started, Colin, would you like to provide us with a 2-minute opening statement? But also too, before we also get started, Arbir Atwal, our Associate Director, will be keeping time. And basically with the last 10 seconds, she'll do a finger countdown up until you get to 10. Once you do this, we'll cut you off basically and say, I'm sorry, but the speaker's time has elapsed. But with that being said, would you please provide us your opening statement?
Of course. I shouldn't need 2 minutes, so we might not be able to might not need to use that. So anyway, thank you everyone. Hello, my name is Colin Kemp. I'm running for Director of Social Sciences and Interdisciplinary Studies. Currently a junior at Sac State, and I'm currently studying political science with a minor in economics. I'm part of the College Democrats here on Sacramento State, and also the Ski and Snow Club. I'm serving as an Economic Development and Housing Commissioner in West Sacramento, where I've lived for the past 20 years, and working as a legislative intern at the state capitol. In both those positions, I've seen how budgets for multi-billion-dollar industries are run, and how cities can be improved and built upon. And I believe that I could take that knowledge and take Sac State to the next level. Right now, my plan is simple. We need to put more money to clubs and more money to improving the infrastructure that we have here at Sac State. Specifically, that means more grants to clubs and increasing the dock funding. And when it comes to infrastructure here at Sac State, I want to make sure that we have more lights on campus, more cameras, and we make sure that every Hornet is safe. Thank you, and yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you, Colin. Thank you. With that being said, we'll do now 1 minute to answer our general question. What actions have you taken in the past, either on campus or in the community, that demonstrated your leadership qualities? Once again, what actions have you taken in the past, either on campus or in the community, that demonstrated your leadership qualities?
Thank you very much, Tyler. What multiple actions have been taken by me in the past. For example, I was legislative director for College Dems for last semester, in which we got multiple bills approved for our sponsorship. This was very unprecedented in our club since we usually don't do sponsorship of bills in the fall. We got maybe 10 to 11 bills sponsored then, when we usually do none. In other stances, when I was in ROTC in high school, I was actually the commander of that, and we were able to finish off obviously, it was COVID, we weren't able to do too much then, but I was still a leader for the entire year then. Besides that, obviously, I've been the commissioner in West Sac, and I'm currently working in the Capitol, and that's about it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Colin. Now we would do our positional question. If elected, what would be your number one priority relating to the college or group? Once again, if elected, what would be your number one priority relating to your college or group?
Alrighty, thank you. I would say the number one priority would be making sure that our college has enough funding to support itself, and that funding doesn't cut into any teaching positions or sees a decrease in teacher salary. I think the biggest thing right now that we have to worry about is teacher salaries being cut or teachers being laid off simply because school doesn't want to pay them. I would say that would be like my biggest priority, or that would be improving the infrastructure in classrooms that we have for our college. Either getting more charging equipment in there, making sure people have more access to charge to utility ports, and making sure that people, are able to, charge their laptops, be able to use their the what they've brought for college to be able to use it. Thank you.
Thank you, Colin. I do appreciate those answers. Given that those are all the questions we'll be posing today from the positional and general question, I'm now looking to the audience to provide us any questions they'd like Colin to answer today. Please do so by writing them in the Q&A portion of today's session, and we'll do about 10 minutes of this, if not shorter. While we wait, though, for those questions to trickle on in, just to remind you all, we will be having a candidate forum tomorrow, which will basically be covering our vice president executive areas for both vice president of finance, vice president of university affairs, and vice president of academic affairs, which will still be held via Zoom, same time from 9:30 to 10:30. You can get that code on our ASI website, or feel free to email me as well, or I can send it directly to you. Even then, next week we'll also be hosting our presidential ticket candidate forum on Monday from 9:30 to 10:30. As mentioned, same thing on Zoom. But we will also be doing our election kickoff events on both days of voting on April 10th and 11th. The first one being in the Capistrano Lawn area, secondly day happening on the library quad of our university. And there we will be providing food. There'll be Chando's tacos as well as nachos, photo booth, and other areas for you to engage with our candidates. But also, we will be doing an elections results party, which will be happening right after the ballot closure on Thursday around 7:30 p.m. So definitely come by and hear live who will be leading you in our next student government. All right, it looks like we have a couple questions coming on in. The first one, if you had one priority to accomplish next year or to benefit the students of the college you would represent, is that number one priority? Once again, if you had one priority to accomplish in the next year to benefit the students of the college you would represent, what is that one priority?
Actually, I would like to take this chance to answer both these questions at the same time, if that's all right with you. Um, right now, I believe that we need to make sure that more scholarships are available for students here on campus, and that would mean expanding the amount of scholarships that are given by the SSIS director, and making sure that students are able to afford college through any means necessary. And that means either talking about, making sure your voice is heard at and the CSU system at events where the entire CSU gathers, or making sure that here on campus we divert some money to make sure that more scholarships are available in SSIS for either low income or underrepresented groups.
Thank you, Colin. And then just to confirm, when you said you were answering both questions at the same time, were you referring to the question from Sky?
Yes, I was.
Gotcha. Well, with that being said, we'll move on to our question from Teshavi. What are some issues that you're interested in advocating for? And you have 1 minute to respond.
Alrighty, thank you. Obviously, making sure that obviously advocating for lower tuitions is a big thing for me. As we all know, college is expensive as it is already. So, and I think we all heard from that, to some degree, each and every one of us. Um, I would also say making sure that everyone has the chance to be represented and be heard, meaning that, you know, my door would always be open no matter who you are. That's another big thing I strongly advocate for. Other than that, basically it's things that people would consider the boring stuff: infrastructure, electricity usage, data rates, things that people don't usually think about, but when you really look at who who it impacts, it's the things that can make or break a community. Thank you.
Thank you, Colin, for providing those answers to our questions from our audience. Given that there doesn't appear to be any additional questions, we'll now move on to our closing statement, and you have 2 minutes to provide a closing statement.
Alrighty, I'll keep this quick then. Um, I would love to be your next SSIS director. I have experience, I have leadership, I have I have knowledge of the system and how to make sure that it benefits you, the students of CSU Sacramento, and of the Social Sciences Interdisciplinary Studies College. Thank you.
Alrighty, well, thank you again, Colin, for showing up today and providing those beautiful answers. As mentioned, don't forget to go out and vote on April 10th and 11th. But with that being said, have a good day, everyone, and go vote.